Hello.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. How are you today?
I'm great, thank you.
Good. Thanks for coming in today.
Hey, thanks for having me.
My name's Jennifer Wisner, and I'm going to be your interviewer today.
Nice to meet you, Jennifer.
Thank you. Nice to meet you. And tell me a little bit about yourself.
Hey, I'd love to. My name is Ryan Wisner. I go to Utah Valley University. I'm majoring in personal financial planning. So I know you need some certain skills to be in that field other than just golf from a golf course.
Right.
But so I did a job shadow at Fidelity Investments when I was a little bit younger, and that helped introduce me to this financial literacy field. I have been a salesman with Vantage Marketing, which helped me connect to people on a personal level. I've also worked at a call center, and that has helped me create relationships and learn to really listen and understand what people need and are going through. And then, of course, I've lived in Brazil for 2 years. That helped me really get out of my comfort zone, one thing. So I've learned to be comfortable with that. I speak Portuguese, and I'm also learning to speak Spanish so I can become trilingual.
That sounds great. Tell me what kinds of things you like to do in your free time.
Well, I'm an avid sports player.
Okay.
I mean, that's why I brought up the joke about golf, right? Because I just love sports. I love being active. I love going out with groups of people. You give me a call, you shoot me a text, I'll be there. I just love to interact and be with other people like that.
Okay. So you love all sports? You love a little bit of
even
everything?
handball and even
Whoa.
water polo.
Okay. Whoa, you really do love everything about sports. Well, today the purpose of our interview is to get to know a little bit more about you and to see what kind of skills you have and what kind of qualifications you have for the job that we're looking for here today.
Great, I'm excited.
And so we'll just kind of go through different questions. I want to know, pretty in-depth answers of what kinds of things you're looking for and what your skills are and what kinds of things you're willing to learn or that you're learning right now or that you have learned in the past. And I'm going to be taking some notes and all that, so don't be nervous if I'm taking notes. I want to be able to remember the things we're talking about and
Of course.
some of those things.
Of course.
Okay, so I have about 10 big questions that we'll be asking, and we'll start there.
All right.
Okay. So what I want to know is, tell me about a time in a job where you showed initiative. What prompted you to get started, and what were the results?
That's a great question. So I worked at a call center for 18 months after I lived in Brazil, and I also was able to speak Portuguese there. And I realized, not only from our company here in America to the Latin America company, there was a disconnect, but also with the people inside our own office. There's a disconnect of, does the right hand know what the left hand is doing, right? I'm sure you're familiar with that phrase.
Right.
The people in the own call center, own co-workers, know each other and are able to relay information clearly. I'm sure you've seen those videos of like the stock exchange, stock market, where people are running around screaming and doing crazy things. It's kind of like that. So me, a few of my other co-workers, we got together and decided a better way of communicating information and really how to do inter-office communication and organization. And we figured out that Microsoft Teams was the best option for us to stay professional, stay quiet, so that people can talk on the phones and still, get that information to the customer in a good, fast manner, or our coworkers if needs be. I saw a drastic improvement in that. That's one of the reasons why I stayed a little bit longer than I was planning originally, because I saw that really improved the workforce a lot better. It was great to be there.
Yeah, it sounds like that worked out great together. What was the most useful criticism that you've ever received from an immediate supervisor? And how did you embrace this feedback and achieve a positive outcome?
Great. I mean, receiving criticism never is easy, right? Because, the instant defense steps up. And I did something that really opened my eyes this last summer. As a summer salesman up in northeast Tennessee, city of Johnson City, beautiful area. And I was selling pest control. It was my first summer doing it. And so I was really trying to, get my feet under. And when I realizing I didn't start off as good as I wanted to, my manager, who became a really good friend of mine, he just reminded me, man, just remember the basics. Remember the basics, then you can, expand and make it your own. And so I really had to humble myself and restart. And from there, I really saw an increase in sales. I was increasing in sales for the next month in a row, and it was great to see. And he kind of bragged to the team that it was his advice that made me see myself in a better light.
Okay.
Good experience.
Okay, that sounds good. What do you feel that you have to offer above the average employee when it comes to accomplishing your daily responsibilities and goals? Do you have specific examples of that?
Yeah, that's a great question. I always consider myself an above average employee because nobody just wants an average or below average employee. Something my dad taught me growing up is every day is a tryout. I brought that through sports, through academics, and through the workforce as well. And so when I go through my daily chores or daily activities as an employee here or at a sandwich shop in my high school job, you really had to stand out. I mean, with the customers you deal with, you want them to remember you. With your coworkers, you want them to feel like they can always rely on you and know you'll get your part of the job done. And so I always bring that to the table. I always make sure things are getting done. I always make sure we're always on the right page. And I make sure everyone is involved that needs to be involved, and we take the next step forward.
Okay, sounds good. Let me just write this down a little bit.
Of course. No rush.
Sounds good. How about, could you describe for me a time when you elevated the level of value you brought to a customer over time, and how did you accomplish this?
Right. Yeah. So back to summer sales. Happened just this past summer. There was this lady. We actually became really good friends in the end. She still has my number to this day, and she even gave me a quick call before because she remembered the day I was going back to Utah. Gave me a quick call to say, hey, good luck back in Utah. So it was nice to see that she still remembered me, even though she was my second sale this summer. And really, her story is quite fascinating. She was a referral from some other neighbor. It was actually kind of rude to me, but said, hey, go visit her, she'll like it, I don't want you. I was like, okay, did. And I was able to sell our basic service, and we just got along so well that I remembered she mentioned she also had trouble with mosquitoes, which in summer sales is a separate package. And so when our mosquitoes package became available a couple weeks down the road, I remember her, I looked her up, and I called her. And I informed her of the package, I reminded her who I was, and she invited me over the next night. We sat and talked, caught up a little bit, great conversation, and we almost forgot why we were there. But then I reminded her of that mosquito package. She was very grateful that I thought about her, and that she was very grateful I went above and beyond to even reach out and remember her. So she did. She signed up for that additional package as well. And I made sure we signed her up with our best technician available to make sure she's always well taken care of. Great experience. That lady was very nice, and I miss her.
That sounds great. Okay, sounds good. Can you recall a time when you were less than pleased with your performance? And what did you do about it?
Perfect.
Sounds like we've even talked about some of those things already.
Yeah, right? Oh, let's start with a more recent experience. Summer sales, again, because this is the most recent on my mind. You really do got to be personally motivated. You don't have someone next to you telling you what to do all the time. So I was just tired, this 3-4 months just pushing yourself, and I was just pushing, but I wasn't taking care of myself before or after those hours of knocking, and so my body was starting to take a toll. I became exhausted, and my performance really took a toll. I was not pleased. I was super tired. What I did, I even apologized to my team and said, look, I need to take a day here just to recuperate, rethink my goals, reevaluate where I am in that moment. And I really took upon myself to change and coordinate times and things I can do to get to bed earlier, to wake up on time, get some exercise in the morning to help wake me up. And after that, I saw my sales pick back up again. And it was great to see, and it was a relieving feeling seeing that you get out of your slump.
That's true. That is true. How about your level of competitiveness? Can you describe that to me and tell me about a specific situation where your competitiveness helped you achieve better results than your peers?
Well, me bringing up sports, I bet you already know I have a certain level of competitiveness. That's never to compromise, a relationship or a friendship. It's always, to push yourself to be better. I believe competition is a healthy healthy sport in itself. Multiple times. I mean, summer sales again, trying to beat your roommate, reach that certain goal and push yourself to be better. Or the call center job, who can take the most amount of calls and who can get the highest report card, as we called it. We were graded on certain calls per week, who would get the highest report card. And that was with one of my best friends, who we called my work twin, because we were always the hardest working and most competitive with each other. So those are just some brief moments of my recent history that I've been competitive off the sports field and in the workforce to push myself to be better.
Okay, that's good. Thinking of an example when one of your customers was not pleased with something or you or your team had done. What was the situation and how did you recover?
Wow, great. Let's go with a call center experience. I was a supervisor there, and I didn't really get air of this call until after around the fifth person already spoke to her, and she was just losing her mind. Rightly so. Totally justified situation, because we dealt with car navigation systems, and our update was having faulty problems, and she got one of those bad ones that was released, and it totally bricked her system, ruined her car. Dealer didn't know what to do about it, and so the blame was back on us. But later it was resolved, and actually realized it was someone else's problem, and it did get resolved. But so she was just, I was on the phone with her an hour after closing, and I stayed there. I took it over from one of our employees, because I realized there was a chain going on with the same lady, and I realized our immediate staff was really having trouble grasping the situation, largely due to that lack of communication and inter-office I was talking about earlier, since prior the Microsoft Teams resolve. And I just took over and said, hey, just tell her one of the head supervisors will get on the phone with her. And I did, and it was a very long conversation. I took a lot of notes. It was mostly just listening, really what it was. It was a lot of listening, because I realized a lot of the notes were just all over the place that people took prior to me. And so I really had to figure out what the root was, understand what she was feeling, so I could figure out the best solution for her. It took time, and with that, with my frequent callbacks, she was becoming more patient, and we were able to work something together. We found a solution, and she was well on her way by the time we took care of this for her. It was a rough situation, never easy, but we worked together to get the resolve going. We helped the dealership as well fix the vehicle and get her the right part that needed to happen for her vehicle.
Okay. Can you give an example of a time when you successfully persuaded your peers to change their minds and follow your recommendations? And what was the specific, give me a specific situation and result.
Okay. Of when my idea was what?
You successfully persuaded your peers.
Okay.
To change their minds, maybe, and go.
Okay. Well, really, that the Microsoft Teams thing at the call center I mentioned earlier is one of those examples. Management was going through some changes. We just changed our region manager, our head supervisors were changing, our trainers were changing for new hires, and so things were really out of whack, and they didn't want to take on anything new. They didn't know really what to do. They were still trying to understand their job, and that's where I stepped in with my little team, little brain team, I guess, of ideas to resolve this issue. And we showed them some pros and some cons, of course. You gotta see both sides. To really how to resolve this issue. Even though they had a lot on their plates, we could help take some off, and this, in the end, would be a better long-term investment. And so we did. It wasn't immediately, of course, the change or their decision to accept, but in the end, they accepted, and it did turn out to be the better option, and they still have it implemented to this day.
Okay. Sounds good. All right, let's see. Can you share a time that you were able to directly attribute your probing skills to solve a problem with a difficult customer? Sounds like we've heard a couple.
I've heard a couple, so I guess I'll switch it up a little bit.
Okay.
One of let's go high school, an early experience, right? It kind of shaped me how to deal with these later ones. I worked at a sandwich shop, and honestly, I wasn't really involved, so I didn't understand what was the real problem at first. I just realized that my coworkers and them were not getting along, so no one was not seeing eye to eye. Pride was involved, so no one wanted to give and say they were in the wrong. And so I was able to kind of step in and be, even though I worked there, a little unbiased, right? Because I didn't really know what was going on. And even though at a sandwich shop, people would still get mad at you, right?
Yeah.
And so apparently orders are wrong, prices was wrong, quality was off. And so what I did is I got in touch with the owner, said, look, this is the situation. And this is my idea. My idea, was refund them, give them complimentary meal, and to really, understand where they were coming from and where my employees would come from, so we could make change all around the board. And that was an early experience for me. I mean, I was 16 at the time, so it's kind of daunting at first to step up like that, but it helped me realize that even in a difficult situation, if you learn to understand and see both sides, you can come out on top. And those customers stayed. I actually left that store. They did not want to come back to that store because of my coworkers. But when I got changed to another store, because my boss owned 3 locations, and I was like his teacher's pet, moving from place to place, and when they realized I was at the other store they changed to go to, they were happy and they were excited, and they told my other coworkers they only wanted me to make their sandwiches that day, and it was great to see them again, and it was great to see that they trusted me and believed that I could, fix that problem for them.
Okay. How about a time when you identified a new, unusual, or different approach for addressing a problem or task? And how did you come to solve the solution, and what kind of an outcome was there?
Let's go when I'm on my own with summer sales again. 'Cause like I said, it's just most recent of really working on your own and coming to your own conclusions and ideas. Because with summer sales, you kind of get a basic script to learn from, right? So you have a base to go off of when you're out there. And yeah, you memorize it at first, but you try to make it your own. I remember with my go back to the basic script I mentioned earlier. And so, I was going off that basic script, trying to make it my own. I realized that none of it was working. And so I'm like, I think I'm being maybe a little bit too just robotic or salesy, right? That's even a word, salesy. And so I realized you know what? I just gotta let it happen. And the next one ended up being a sale. And how I did that was I breathed and I kind of just let loose of everything I knew. I didn't have to force it down their throats. I needed to get to know them. Why would this product be best for them? Why would they need that? Right? And it was just a conversation. Started as a conversation. I'm pretty sure it was sports that brought us together on this one. Because I follow every sport, and so I can talk about anything. I think it was some baseball team in Tennessee, so I don't know. And we found that base, and he liked me as a person enough to open up more about what he was seeing, bugs and some of the neighbors, so he'd give me some referrals, and it was just I had to become more of a one-on-one person-to-person experience, not a salesperson to a person experience. And I gotta open my eyes that these are people I'm dealing with, right? It's not just a force down the throat situation, and that helped me take a different look and really know how to adapt the script to my own. Not just change a word or two, but know how to implement it in a day-to-day conversation instead.
Okay. Awesome. Okay. Why do you think that you would be a good fit here? Why you should be considered for this position?
Well, as I mentioned before, I always strive to be the above average employee or the excellent employee, right? I believe I can be a good fit anywhere. I'm adaptable. I love to learn. I love to engage. Being around people is entertaining because different personalities, different cultures, right? With people, you learn things from other people, other situations, other companies. And so I believe I can bring a dedicated, ready to learn, easy, adaptable feel to this place. I always try to do my best and take us to the next level.
Okay. Well, I think so far that I can get kind of a feel for your dedication to your work and to your jobs and those kinds of things. Did you have any questions that you wanted to ask me?
Yeah, I'd love to ask. I just have a few questions for you, if you don't mind. My first one is, what do you like about it here? Right? What has kept you here and made you want to be someone who takes on the hires for this wonderful firm here?
Well, I think that I always enjoy working with other people and seeing how people can interact, how people can problem solve. There's always a lot of problem solving that needs to be done.
Great.
A lot of seeing people dedicated and growing and changing, and especially if you have a great environment, if you have a good environment where people get along. It sounds like you like to be in an area, where people are getting along and people are working pretty smoothly and working those kinds of things. I think those are very important reasons for being in a job, being where you like to be. I like what we do here. I like the people here. I like
Great.
being able to come in with new situations and also problem solve, like you said. Okay, yeah.
One more, if you don't mind. I'd love to be a new hire here, and I'm ready to work tomorrow if needs be. What advice would you give me, as you obviously are more experienced here and you know the layout? And what would be the one thing you'd say I should remember, take with me?
I say a great thing in any situation or in a job situation or in any type of a probably situation anywhere is to be teachable, to be able to listen to the others. There will be people who, even if you've worked a job that's very similar to what you would be doing here, sometimes people don't want to listen to a new way to do something or don't want to be adaptable.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's something that's very important, is being able to be teachable and listen and learn new ways. And because sometimes we have all the answers,
Mm-hmm.
And great answers, but sometimes we need to learn from others also and get away to see how things flow. So I think that's always really important with somebody new coming on a job. I don't mean teachable like you wait around for everybody to tell you what to do.
It's like the proactive.
Right. But teachable when somebody says, hey, I've seen this works better this way or something, to be able to listen and try to understand a way to do something. I think that's
Thank you.
also very important.
I appreciate that information. Thanks for letting me ask those questions.
Yeah, you're welcome. Well, I thank you for coming in today. I feel like this was you came prepared. You've had a lot of experiences, sounds like, and a lot of actually good experiences of being able to work with others and know what you're doing. So I appreciate you coming in today, and
All right. Well, thank you.
you're welcome.
I'm anxious to hear from you again soon.
Well, you'll be hearing from us soon. Thank you very much.
I'll be on the standby.
Okay, thank
Thank you.
you.
Bye.